I'm, you know what? People are asking me, oh, I can't believe all these shows are coming out in January. So we're like, we're going to do our public service announcement and we're going to give you guys a list of some of the shows premiering in January. Hello and welcome back to the Popcorn for Dinner podcast. We interrupt your hopefully very special Christmas celebrations for this very important announcement. I'm not going to do this alone because joining me, I pulled him off from his Christmas celebrations and somehow he's still in the middle of making his last minute New Year's resolutions. Guys, recording for the first time together in a very long time. It's Ebube. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. My resolution is to record podcasts less, but I don't think that's going to work out for me.
That seems like it's counterintuitive, unfortunately. Maybe still do a different resolution.
Yeah, I'll find a new one, I guess.
How are you doing? How have you been preparing for a very busy January that we're going to cover in a second?
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been nice to get a little bit of a holiday break. It's also been interesting looking at the shows themselves, kind of just checking out the lay of the land. I guess the world is trying to return to Westeros again, so that's going to be something that will hopefully capture audiences. It's still to be seen how people will actually respond to that, but this show is supposed to be the fun one of the bunch. Like if Game of Thrones was the heavily dramatic one and House of the Dragon was supposed to be, I don't know, the intriguingly revelatory one that tells us how we got where we got in Game of Thrones. This show is kind of just supposed to be like, here's some fun stuff that happened like 100 years ago. So let's see if that's actually fun and if it has any bearing on the story. Hopefully they'll find a way to provide insights without making the story feel weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm also really looking forward to industry. So
yeah, of course. I mean, Ebube says he's been enjoying the break, but that's not entirely true because he is still covering Pluribus, or rather he just finished covering Pluribus.
You could have let them have the illusion.
A few days ago. Yeah, the finale came out a few days ago. So yeah, our entire coverage of Pluribus is out on the feed with Ebube and Chris, all nine episodes of the show, 8 episodes of the podcast. Yeah, you can check that out. You can also make sure to check out Pete Pepper's coverage, check out his live streams, which are all on his page. We appeared on quite a few of them, we being Ebube, Chris, and myself. Yeah, and like we said, we're going to cover some of the shows that are coming out in January, which we're going to be covering as well. You can go back in the feed. We had some interesting episodes in December. I had a big episode with Ayo, William Goodman, and Shireen, where we kind of discussed what was the film of the year, which, as you can expect, devolved into a conversation between one battle after another and Sinners. And yeah, and then we also kind of highlighted some of the movies from the year that we did really, really like. And we also announced our end of our full year 2026 project, which is that we'll be covering 12 MCU films across the year, one every month from our ranking from number 12 to number 1, leading to December, where number 1 and also has Doomsday. So
yeah, I wonder whose idea that was. Some people just like work.
Yeah, just I don't know who had that brilliant idea. But yeah, let's do what we're here for. So I've kind of divided these shows into 5 categories. The first is Clubhouse faves. The second is Bankole faves. The third is just intriguing. The fourth is fun time. And then the last one is just, the fourth is fun time. And the last one is just others. That's just others. So I'm going to start with Clubhouse faves, because no surprise, the number one thing here is industry. Industry returns for its 4th season, January 11th. I do believe, this hasn't been confirmed by the time we're recording this, but I do believe that they're airing the same time in the UK, which is probably the first time they've ever done this, because usually there's quite a delay. So I do believe that if not Sunday, then maybe Monday in the UK. So we will confirm this when we're doing our coverage, but I do believe like it's going to be simultaneous UK and US airing, which is the first time that's ever happened, just to show like the kind of confidence that the BBC and HBO has been getting in industry or has been growing in industry over the years. Industry season 4, Maybe how excited are you for industry season 4?
Incredibly. Like, was I not the one who published a literal podcast saying Industry Season 4 is already a guaranteed hit a year and a half ago? I'm that guy. So, yeah, I'm definitely interested in Industry Season 4. And I'm curious to see how everything plays out because I feel like this is the first time that we're going to be leaving the UK. At least that's what I think might be happening for some of the characters. Just
Yeah.
because Harper was discussing going to the US and checking some things out, despite the fact that she doesn't want to interact with her mom, who maybe we'll finally meet. We already met her brother. I'm curious to see how Yasmin's marriage is working out. I'm curious to see if Henry Muck has avoided walking himself off a cliff. And judging by the teaser we received earlier, a couple of months ago, I think it's safe to say that this is going to be an interesting season. I guess I'm also hoping Robert has found some peace in life, but I don't know.
Yeah.
If I
Hoping
feel
for
like Mickey
the
and Conrad don't like giving Robert peace in life. I think they want him to
yeah.
really fight for that one.
Hoping for the Harry Lottie cameo at some point during the season. We know that these guys, yeah, they are very good at bringing characters back in for 1 or 2 episodes, or 1 episode. So we hope that we see Harry Lottie once more. Or at the very least, we get confirmation that he's with Gus, actually just being, as you said, at peace. Um, yeah, the teaser was beautiful. I actually don't know how long. I I feel like they won't be in America that long. I don't know why. I just kind of feel like for some reason they will come back to the UK in the story. I don't know. I can't. I don't think the whole season will be in America. That's
Yeah.
just kind of always been my natural inclination.
So
Also, they shot in Wales again,
would
so
you say that the UK, or I guess London specifically, is a character in industry the same way, say, Albuquerque is a character in Breaking Bad? Like, do you think there's something about industry's DNA that needs London to feel the way it does?
so I can say this, but I was thinking about that. I don't know if I think because I'm biased as well. Like,
Okay.
is like because I know, like I know I lived there, right? So I know the references. I know
Mm-hmm.
the idea. So like it's same thing with Slow Horses, for example. Like London is a character in that show for me because again,
Yeah.
I know the stations, I know the things, I know when he's eating a Greg sausage, so those kind of things. So like you're like, yeah. I mean, industry, the feeling of London is definitely a character,
Mm-hmm.
if not necessarily the architecture. Like for example, in season 1 now, the high cocaine use. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
people do cocaine all over the world, right? But like probably still the same, but like cocaine use was an epidemic in London, especially within those kind of finance people, like more so than I
Uh-huh.
think even in the other kind of countries. So that kind of feeling, or even just I guess also the houses. Like when I saw Robert's house in season 3, I was like, I know that
And
house,
you
I
were
know
like,
that
you know
street.
he overpaid for whatever this
Yeah,
rickety
like
place is. Yeah.
I know all of these things. So I do think, again, I don't think the show can't survive outside London, but I just feel like they might. I think maybe 2 or 3 episodes and they'll come back to London. I'll be surprised if they do the entire season in America.
I
That'll
guess
be
we'll
very
see.
interesting. But we can't not mention some of the new cast members. Um,
Industry's casting department is always working overtime.
just so good. Charlie Heaton, who just finished his run on Stranger Things, is in the season.
Max
Cal
Minghella.
Penn, Cal Penn is always good. Max Minghella, who is just like, again, always good. If they just went and got someone from Social Network, I'm like, yeah. But I mean, the most exciting one, I think, for me, but I think even also for Mickey and Conrad, because Mickey and Conrad love Mad Men. Been,
Mm-hmm.
they've not hidden that fact. Like that, Mad Men is one of their North Stars. Like, I think they literally referenced the show in industry, like one of the episode titles. Like, yeah, so like they love Mad Men, and obviously they have Kiernan Shepka this season, who
Mm-hmm.
was Sally Draper on Mad Men. So yeah, I'm very excited for the casting and just kind of see what these characters are going to be doing. The teaser looked so beautiful, and I think Mickey and Conrad are going to be directing a lot more this season. I would assume they'll do at least 4 episodes, 4 of the 8, maybe at least
Yeah,
three or
there was
four.
something very I don't know. This is actually like this word has practically lost its meaning at this point, but I will say cinematic
Mm,
because there is something about the way that trailer, or I guess wasn't even trailer, right? We're talking about the
the
teaser,
teaser.
and there was something about the way it revealed information. There's something about the way they chose shots with specific framing. There's something about their use of dialogue, which was very sparse, like almost zero. You know, there's something about a way they were selling a feeling as opposed to a story in that teaser. Like this was the first teaser in a while to actually feel like a teaser and not like a mini trailer, if that makes sense. So
Yeah,
there's something very beautiful about that. I do agree with you.
yeah. And the feeling I got was just chaos. So
Exactly.
we love to see that. I didn't get anything about financial. There was nothing about financial activity in the
Yes,
teaser. It
Loki
was
is like, is this show even
just
about
people
money
stressing
anymore?
out. It's just people I mean, based on
Harper's
Harper's
power suits.
costume, yeah, it's definitely about money because oh my god, our babe has leveled up. Okay, so let's move
She's
on.
back to
Shrinking.
braids.
She's back to break. Shrinking is another Clubhouse fave that is out January 28th. Um, it,
Enough
I
said,
really,
right?
yeah, I hope this is not the final season. I hope they can continue their trajectory of just being quite
I
excellent.
hope they do at least
Um,
4. I really do.
yeah. Speaking of casted, Jeff Daniels has been cast as Jason Segel's dad, which,
Oh,
again, speaking of guys that are always good, like Jeff Daniels is equally great in comedy as he is in drama. He can do Dumb and Dumber, and he can do the newsroom or Steve Jobs or Sorkin dialogue. So he will fit right very well in the world of Shrinking that is
he,
equally good at drama
that's good
comedy.
casting, to be honest. Like
Yeah,
he really does look like he could be Jason Segel's dad, Loki.
yeah. Which kind of I was like, oh my god, I can't believe Jeff Daniels is that old. Like he's old enough to be
Right,
Jason
he's
Segel's dad.
70.
I was like, oh wow, I didn't even think about that. Michael J. Fox is also in this season, which obviously is like beyond just the acting. It obviously has thematic resonance because obviously I don't know if he's playing himself. The reason I say that because obviously he has Parkinson's and he's been a
Hmm.
big advocate for Parkinson's, and obviously Harrison Ford's character has Parkinson's in the show, so that kind of has a bit of a thematic heft to it. I do believe Kobe Smulders is coming back this season. Um, so for us How I Met Your Mother fans, that's also always good to see. So yeah, again in the Shrinking, we just kind of hope that it as good as it's always been, hopefully better. Um, yeah. Anything else about Shrinking and without crying?
There's still time. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I love that show. Um I guess I might as well just shout out Tala, who a friend of mine who I talked with about Love is Blind alongside
Mm-hmm.
Aisha a couple years back. She actually is a therapist, and I introduced Shrinking to her, and she has told me more than once that that is actually her favorite show.
Mm,
Like at first, it was just the funny things of like as a therapist, it's just the crazy scenes. But then you combine that with the story. So for her, it's almost like watching her own world in a very like heartfelt way. So I can understand how the show would be especially nice for her. So I guess that also should tell everybody listening to me right now that if a therapist can tell you this show makes sense, then the show
mm.
definitely makes sense.
Because it's very rare for people to like shows about their
Yeah,
industry. Um,
exactly.
no pun intended. Okay, so the next category, I'll skip Bankole Phase for a second. The next category is intriguing, and this is where I have A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I
Mm.
I didn't think I could put it in Clubhouse faves because we don't know anything about it, so we can't give you that kind of like pedigree just yet.
I mean, on some level, yes, you're right. But at the same time, it's like someone might hear that and argue, well, you know, it should kind of have a pass for its specific DNA. But yeah, to be honest, but from what we've seen from House of the Dragon, these shows could end up being very different. And, you know, people are also kind of weird. Like the weekend of American Thanksgiving, when Stranger Things came out, I literally saw on Twitter and Instagram there are people arguing like Game of Thrones versus Stranger Things season 5. Like there are people who are literally trying to figure out which show is better, and there's some people who are like trying to understand how anyone could even ask this question. And there are other people who are like, oh, Stranger Things eats in this area or that area. There are other people who are like that one scene. I saw one tweet that was like that one scene where Daenerys takes the Unsullied is better than the entire Stranger Things, which, that's a take, I guess. But
It's not a
yeah, I
true
mean, we
take,
don't
but
know what the
sure.
show will be. We don't know how well it will live up to the expectations. We don't know how it will immerse us in the world of Westeros. We don't know what the performances will be like. Just about every character in this show is going to be someone that the average viewer of anything Game of Thrones has never heard of.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we'll see some people that you've heard of. Of course, the actual Knight of the Seven Kingdoms in question is Sir Duncan the Tall, whom everybody who watching Game of Thrones has heard about at least once, right?
Might not remember,
They might
so
not
like,
remember, but they would have
yeah.
heard. One interesting scene, I guess, is anytime they're talking about like the King's Guard, because I guess that's somebody who when it, that's somebody who had a little bit of influence and who did a lot of interesting deeds. And it's a question of whether, I guess, for people watching this show, whether he does become somebody affiliated with the King's Guard, whether he does brush with the royal family, whom we have seen some of in the trailer. So yeah, anything could happen at this point. And I think that there is a lot of potential here. I like to go into things like this with optimism and hope, and I just don't want to be crushed. So yeah.
I mean, we should say that this is going to be a very different show. So if you're listening to this podcast, if you're watching this video on YouTube, kind of prepare yourself for that. This is very different from the
Different
other
in
Game of
tone.
Thrones shows. Different in tone, different in length. These are gonna be much shorter episodes than you're usually that you're used to. So kind of prepare yourself for that. It's not. I don't think it's the big. And obviously there'll be. It's Game of Thrones. There'll still be battles. There'll still be whatever, but like it's not going to be the big scaly event of scaly in I meant in terms of scale, not in terms of dragons, but maybe that works for both. Yeah, it's not going to have the kind of scale of Game of Thrones or even House of the Dragon. So, but I think, yeah, I'm hoping it's fun. I'm hoping it's light on its feet. That's what I'm looking for. It's premiering January 18th, which, to kind of give you a game, what I'm saying, but it's going to be different. It's going to be airing alongside industry. Um, those of you who are HBO stalwarts remember, like, back in the day, and this has happened recently as well, but not to the high standard. But back in the day, it would be Game of Thrones at 9 p.m. Eastern, followed by Veep at 10, and then Silicon Valley at 10:30. That was your HBO 2 hours. It was like one Game of Thrones, one Veep, one Silicon Valley. And I think that's kind of what they're probably going to replicate here, of like industry 9 to 10, Night of Seven Kingdoms 10 to 10:30, then maybe like Last Week Tonight 10:30 to 11, something like that. So that's to kind of give you the idea of the space it's filling. It's not filling the HBO 1 hour, it's filling the HBO 30 to 45 minutes space. So
The kind
yeah,
of slot that industry would fill. No, not industry, Insecure would fill.
Insecure, Curb Your Enthusiasm, like all the
Yeah.
big HBO comedies. Yeah, so we'll be covering, just in case it wasn't clear, we'll be covering both industry and Night of Seven Kingdoms very religiously. Maybe we might, I'm sure we'll try and sneak in some shrinking conversations at some point during the season, or maybe at the end of the season. I think it would be, I think it would be very difficult for us to go the entire season without talking about Jimmy. So, or at least for me, without talking about Gabby. So, let's see, what happens there. Okay, Bankole Faves is the next category. There's only one show in this category, and that's The Night Manager Season 2, which I believe airs January 1st on the BBC and then January 11th everywhere else on Prime Video. Season 1 aired 2016, 10 years ago. So I guess it's a legacy
What a wait.
sequel. The Night Manager Season 1, whatever happens with Seasons 2 and 3, because it's been renewed for 2 seasons, whatever happens with seasons 2 and 3, the Night Manager season 1 is one of the best like seasons of TV we received in that kind of prime peak TV era. It was, I remember because that was when I was really getting into TV, that 2014 to 2017 range. And I think I've watched Night Manager season 1 at least 3 times back to front. It was one of the like kind of the shows like I'm like sent to my dad, I'm like, as a Nigerian father, you're gonna like this show because it has to do with spies. It's based on a John le Carre novel. I think it was the first time I saw Olivia Colman.
10 years
Which
ago,
obviously,
huh? Okay.
yeah, which obviously that has paid off quite substantially. Well, first time I saw
Yeah,
Tom
for everyone
Hiddleston
involved.
outside of like out of Marvel. So Elizabeth Debicki, that was the first time I saw her as well.
Oh, wow.
Um, it's yeah. So if you're listening to this and you've never watched Night Manager season 1, go watch it. I think it's 6 episodes. I think, yeah, probably 6 episodes. Maybe
Where
8.
can the people find it?
I would assume it's on Prime Video, considering the second season is airing on Prime Video. So it'd be weird if the first season is not on Prime Video. But in the UK, it's definitely on BBC. So, yeah, season 1 of, and I mean, just a really good like. That was when and that was also kind of the thing that kind of propelled the Tom Hiddleston as Bond casting, fan
Mm-hmm.
casting thing, because like he's playing a spy in that. Yeah, Elizabeth Debicki, Hugh Laurie, Olivia Colman, Tom Hollander, David Harewood. It's a really really good kind of solid show that you're just like, oh, this is well directed. I think by Susan Beer, I do believe. Yeah, it based on a John le Carre novel. So yeah, season 2 is coming out 10 years later. Um,
That's amazing. Not
I
them
think Olivia
beating
Colman is in
someone's
this.
record.
Yeah, I don't think Hugh Laurie is. It don't make sense for Hugh Laurie to be in this. I don't know about Elizabeth Debicki, but Olivia Colman and Tom Hiddleston for sure. Um, yeah, so I put it on a Bankole Fails because it could be a dumpster fire or not. So like we'll find out. But also like this is kind of like my spec where even like the bad shows in this genre I still kind of really enjoy, unless it's
Mm-hmm.
really, really bad. And I don't think it can be really, really bad with the people attached. So we'll see. We'll see. I will definitely be watching it over the course of the season. And then if you're listening to this and you haven't, just go watch season 1. Really do go watch season 1. The next category is fun time. And I have here Hijack, because Hijack season 1 was a very fun time.
Despite its high octane stress.
Yeah, that was what made it fun. That was what made it fun.
Wow.
I mean, look, it's like it's in the vein of like not the Bodyguard. Is it the Bodyguard or just Bodyguard?
It was just
The
called Bodyguard. The one
the
with
Bodyguard,
Richard
Richard
Madden, yeah.
Madden. Yeah.
It's just called Bodyguard.
So
That was a
it's
great
high
show.
octane. Yeah, those are like they're both very kind of binge worthy. The type of things that you can watch over the holiday break, actually, like with your family. Just kind of binge all 8 episodes. It's like you you don't really need to think too much about the plot contrivances
Are there a
or
lot of
the
park
issues.
controversies? Because I was thinking
I mean,
about actually checking that show out. Because last time it was mentioned on this podcast, you and Ayo were actually raving about it, saying it was a really good time. And I noticed that season 2 was announced. So I was like, okay, maybe I should take a break from the 100 things I'm doing to actually watch, um,
yeah,
Hijack and see what Idris Elba can do on a streaming show like this, leading it. So
yeah. I do think it's how a show that you like. I'm not saying you're dumbing yourself down, but I think it's a show that you just go in to enjoy and have a fun time, as is evidenced by this title, right? It's not
mhm.
like it's not a thing that you're like, oh, what is this saying about social political dynamic? Like, no, it's not doing that. It's just it's
It's
just
just action, action all the way,
somebody
undiluted
hijacked a
action.
plane. Exactly. Somebody hijacked a plane and Idris Elba is a career. What is he? I think he's like he comes in when businesses are having mergers and like he kind of smooths things out. So essentially he's a
He's a
consultant,
consultant.
but he's parlaying those skills into being a negotiator in this situation. Because he's
Conflict
obviously
resolution in
yes.
aviation. Wow.
Um yeah, it's look, it's good. It made my top 10 of that year, and I'm not even like gonna try and backtrack on that because it was just like it was really fun and it was just a really good time. And I like, yeah. So season 2, I remember. Sorry, I just laughed because like I was talking to Christopher, who's been on the podcast, Chiagozem's brother, Christopher Onobogu, and I was asking him if he's excited for season 2, and he was like, "Is it just Idris Elba that they're always hijacking? Like, how far are they going to stretch
No, but
the
that's actually
credibility of
that would
this?"
actually have been my question, because I would have assumed that by the end of season 1, whatever was being hijacked was resolved and the
Yeah.
plane landed or something. So I'm
So
like, why? How are they back and they still Idris Elba?
yeah, so at the time of recording, I don't think there's been a trailer. So I don't know if I don't think they're going, because there are two ways you could go with this, right? There's this Speed 2 route where it's just the exact same plot but in a different like location, where Speed 2 was like a boat instead of a bus, which
Mhm.
was a terrible idea. Or there's the route where like the threads from the first season are coming back, like maybe like it's not really a hijack this time. It's just like maybe the split the
The
people, the
aftermath
remnants
of
of the
whatever
terrorist
happened.
group, exactly, yeah, chasing him or something. I don't know what route they're going in. I don't think it's be the first route because that's just like what we're doing. So but yeah, I'm intrigued to kind of see what this season will be. Again, like I will watch it because I watch most things, and hopefully it's a fun time as well.
That doesn't make you sound
um
like you have standards.
I
How can
don't.
you just say I watch most things?
No, no, but I do watch most things. That's the thing. I
Uh,
mean, so uh, uh, we grew up, by we, I mean like Ayo, Victor as well, and myself. We grew up in the era like we're all kind of together in university, um, different years, obviously, but like we grew up in the era of like Ayo used to watch, was it Ayo or Victor used to watch like basically every pilot of network TV. Like this is when network TV was still like a
acceptable.
worthwhile, yeah, a worthwhile venture. And like they'll release their like trailers over the like during the upfront, and then in September they will have the pilots, right? We used to kind of watch every pilot and then decide which one we're gonna go with.
Mhm.
So like we do kind of watch everything. And then like so but then as I watch it, I'm like, okay, where does this fall? Is this the one that I'm gonna like pay serious attention to? Or is it the one that is like for a good time? Or do I just not even want to watch this one? There's some I just wouldn't go on with, obviously. So
Mhm.
yeah, I do kind of watch everything. And then I decide like some are worth discussing on the podcast, and some are just like I need something to watch while I'm eating, kind of thing. And I have a good time.
Fair
So
enough.
as long as it's a good story, I'm usually kind of like engaged. So, but not everything is a great story. Um, yeah. And then the final category I have is others, which is just really Wonder Man, January 28th. I don't know if I have any. This is okay. Sorry, this is like the new Marvel TV show starring
Yeah,
Yeah,
Abdul-Mateen the
Abdul
second.
Mateen, yeah, and Ben Kingsley, Sir Ben Kingsley. The trailer looked kind of good, but again, this is without going into the depths of Marvel lore. That's for our MCU episodes. This is kind of in the previous phase of Marvel before kind of Marvel. This is pre Fantastic Four stroke Thunderbolts, and Marvel kind of did a revamp. This is the Bob Shape. This is kind of in the remnants of the COVID Disney restructuring. Let me put it
Mhm.
that way, where Bob Chapek was more of like more. Like we need to pump up Disney Plus. We need to make that a thing. So just put out more content. As opposed to when Bob Iger came back and was like, okay, let's focus more on quality over quantity. That makes it sound like I'm
Yeah, this
praising
this
Bob.
this is not a
But
good report on Chapek.
I mean, look,
But
who am
hey,
I? But like, maybe there's a
it is
reason
what
why
it
he's
is.
out. Maybe there's a reason why Bob Iger came back. Um,
Yeah, I
but
guess.
I'm just a lonely man talking for my podcast. Yeah, I mean, and also I'm not trying to say that Bob Iger is God, because we have seen his interviews. He also has a lot of commas to him. But so my point is that I don't really know how this is gonna be in Wonder Man. The trailer looked fun, but I also think they might be putting all episodes out at once. So sometimes that could be a bad sign. God, who doesn't? We don't know. But it's there, January 28th. So yeah, that's kind of like the big ones from January. I'm sure between now that we're recording and when this episode will come out, they will announce some new premieres. But as we all know, if you've covered this podcast the last few years, January to May is usually a very busy time because the Emmys deadline are in May. So they kind of like all shows kind of pack their release there so that recency bias helps with your voting. I think after Industry ends, Euphoria is going to follow it on HBO. Um, I don't know if there'll be space for another HBO show. I mean, also, we should mention that The Pit premieres in January. I didn't put it on the list because we don't cover it. Because really, I don't watch it. Have you watched The Pit? You haven't.
I haven't, but
Yeah.
one of these
So,
days I will.
so, so that's why we don't cover it. But like, if you are a Pit watcher, The Pit is
Yeah.
coming out in January as well.
Don't let Angel catch me.
Yes. Angel's gonna message me now. But yeah, so that's kind of it. And then Euphoria will follow Industry. I still have to watch Euphoria season 2, which should tell you how much I feel about that show because like season 2 came out like 4 years ago or something, and I still haven't seen it. Um, yeah, and then obviously probably Hacks will come back again. Most likely Hacks will come back again for its final season before the May deadline. Invincible is back in March, and we'll be covering that again as always. Um, yeah, that's kind of like, I'm sure there'll be more premieres, and obviously as more premieres come out, we'll try to kind of keep you guys updated. If there's any final thing you want to say about any of these shows that we've mentioned, or even another show that we haven't mentioned?
Yeah, I think we've pretty much covered it in terms of those shows. I think there might be a few things, a few other things that might be interesting, um, as far as I don't know, like other shows that could be coming out, in the coming year.
Hmm.
It's unclear when some of these shows may be coming out at this point, but yeah, I've heard of a few titles that might be interesting to follow. For example, there is there's this one show called His and Hers on Netflix, and it's coming out on January 8th, and it stars Tessa Thompson and John Bernthal. And I literally don't know.
What?
I know, right? I literally don't know anything about the plot, but I heard those two names, and I'm like,
What?
there's no way we can't watch that, right? Like, yeah, it's a 6 episode psychological thriller starring those two names, which I don't know how that's flown under the radar, but it's true. And Tessa Thompson is a news anchor in Atlanta that investigates a murder case, and John Bernthal is the local detective because, of course, he is. So yeah, that's a whole thing that's happening in real life on starting January 8th.
Yeah, and starring Pablo Schreiber as well from
Yeah,
Orange is the New Black.
so that's like a whole like new thing that like nobody's talking about yet because I guess no one knows. A few outlets even know about it. There's also like a continuation in an alternate timeline of the Spartacus series called House of Asher coming out on Stars, where like Asher, one of the gladiators, like is an alternate timeline or something where he survived and was in charge of his own gladiator school. Because even though Spartacus ended as a story, somebody just woke up and was like, "We need more Spartacus. This new generation needs to know what that was like." So yeah, that's another thing that's happening. So there's like a whole bunch of new like new vibes of stories that are just coming out in January 2026.
Yo, wait,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm still stuck on His and Hers. I'm sorry. Because like how do I not know about this?
It's actually insane. It's fully insane because yeah.
It's coming out next week, January 8th. Like,
Yeah.
what? Um, and like there's some big like character actors in supporting cast. Marin Island, Chris Barr from HBO. It's Bill DeBook is one of the writers who worked on Ozark, The Accountant.
Mm-hmm.
Ah,
Yeah. Sorry,
this is.
I didn't mean to like make your head explode
I mean,
on this
like,
fine day. But yeah, that's the
listeners know
thing
that,
I
like,
figured I should mention since you said, is there anything else?
yeah, I'm a big, like, listeners hopefully know I'm a big, big Bernthal
Yeah,
head. So, like,
these are
despite some.
some big names who are like, they're not just big names, but everything they're in, like they command the screen. So I can only imagine what an amazing roller coaster of a show that would be. So yeah, definitely something worth checking out at some point, even if we don't cover it.
Wow. Anyway, okay. That's.
So yeah, that is my
I guess I have to.
contribution.
Yeah, I have to make space for that now on my watch list. That's so interesting. Huh. Okay. Anyways, thanks for that.
Yep.
Oh gosh, Netflix, man. I still haven't even watched The Beast in Me with Claire Danes and Matthew Rhys. Speaking of actors I like. Anyway, okay, let's wrap it up there before my brain explodes further.
Might as well.
Guys, have a great rest of your holiday. Have a great new year. And join us next week. Really, we are kicking off the new year straight into it. We're doing the first of our MCU 12 series.
Hitting the ground running.
Yeah, and then we're straight into industry and Knights of Seven Kingdoms on the 18th. We are probably covering Fallout as you're listening to this, so we'll probably continue with that. Yeah, it's unfortunately doesn't stop. TV doesn't stop. If it did, maybe it would give us a chance to have a break, but it doesn't stop, and we feel like we'll continue doing this as long as TV is coming out. So yeah, Ebube, thanks a lot for everything. Thanks for your work. Thanks for your work this year. And
You too.
here's to another fully packed year. Guys, thank you very much. And join us next week, next month, next year, when we'll be joined by Oscar winner Daniel Kaluuya. Bye, guys.